1 minus that, right? I just wrote it as 1 over 1 plus I to the power n, and then took that in common, so this becomes just 1 minus 1 plus I to the power n. Right? Or you can it's easier to just look at it like this and simplify it. This is the first term, right? This is the second term. Okay, and then you can see that this basically is the same formula as this. Right? Yeah.
So in this case, n is really just the number of payments. Because you say it's the
Yeah,
number of terms.
n is the number of terms in the summation. That's how geometric progression is summed.
Okay.
Right? So yeah, in this case, it also have, usually it will also be equal to the number of payments because that's how the number of terms are, one term for each payment.
Okay.
Right? Yes, makes sense? So really the take-home message for this should be for you that, which is hopefully the take-home message you get from every course in this department, that formulas are great, but you can't blindly use those. Right? If you have a formula for Bernoulli's equation, you guys all know what is Bernoulli's equation? When can you apply Bernoulli's equation? Sorry? Actually, this was a story. There's a grad student in the department, really one of the best we've had. Well, not one of the best we've had, but a really good one, very smart kid. And I was talking to him, and he was trying to explain something to me, and he was solving Stokes' flow. Stokes' flow means rho Reynolds-Summer flow, and he tried to invoke Bernoulli's equation to explain the physics to me. The fact is, Bernoulli's equation is actually valid in the exact opposite situation when viscous forces are negligible. So you can see even grad students can make such mistakes, where you apply a formula without realizing when is it really valid. So anyway, the important thing is that you guys should feel to use the formulas for P and F because they're useful. But only when the cash flow diagram looks like this. If it looks different, you have to take the other factors into account. It's as simple as that. Okay? Is this method going through? Yeah.
So what stops you from manipulating the number of terms to make your graph look like that?
It doesn't. That's fine. So that's what I did here by saying the previous term was 0. Yeah. You say, okay, this is 0.
So say you
But then the problem is if you want to calculate principal value, you need to realize that principal value is the value at 0, right?
Yeah. So if it was like a problem that said you didn't start paying until the 6th month, you could move it all the way back and just...
Yeah. You can, again, once you understand something, you can always come up with multiple ways to solve a problem. And that's just not true for this process economics. That's true for pretty much everything. Transport too, if you're looking at fluid mechanics, there are usually many different ways of thinking about the problem, if you really know what you're doing. And that's why it's important to really understand. And as I said, so far we only talked about one concept in this class, and that is money can be moved from one point in time to another point. Beyond that, all we have done is we have done some additions, which Gauss did when he was in grade 1. Right? So hopefully we should be able to handle that. All right, any questions? Okay, so how many of you get this idea, understand this idea that you can use these formulas, but only for that picture, and if the picture is different, you have to do something. You all get at least 90%? Yes? Some of you are still confused? I don't see all the hands raised. Okay, all right, seems like most of you get it. Okay, so I'm going to move on, and now I'm going to do another example today. This example will be another, so I'm trying to do some examples in the beginning. So in the end, we're going to start talking about chemical engineering operation, but in the beginning, I want to do examples which somewhat reflect your lives, right? And there are many examples that actually I will not do all of those, but I can tell you other examples which can be computed with this idea. One very interesting example is the whole idea of comparing different careers in terms of profitability. So if you become a doctor, you have to stay in school longer, right? But eventually you end up with a higher salary. If you're an engineer, you still have to stay in school for 4 years, and then you end up with whatever salary. What if you're a technician? You did only 2 years of college. You end up with a lower. The question is, economically speaking, which of these options are most profitable? Right? You kind of understand the question?
Yes.
Same thing, going to grad school versus not going to grad school, right? If you don't go to grad school, you start making money right after you graduate. Now, yes, after you get out of grad school, you'll make less money. You'll make more money than what you would as an undergraduate. But by that time, the undergraduate salary might already be higher in any case, or maybe not. But in any case, in that period, you have made money, right? Another interesting question is, if you want to retire at age 70, how much money should you start saving now every day, or every month, sorry, so that you can retire at age 70, right? Buying a house versus renting a house, right? So all of these questions really in some sense are economic questions. Now, I don't know if you ever heard of the book or Freakonomics. How many of you have heard the book Freakonomics? So the Freakonomics, the idea of Freakonomics is that these economic decisions or economic reasons actually dictate decisions which you may not think are actually dictated by economics. And I'm not going to really give you the examples because some of those are very politically incorrect. But I recommend this book to you. I think it's a good book to read, or at least to listen to. There's an audio version. If you're in a plane, you can listen to it. So anyway, so you know this. So this is just a method that you could utilize for comparing alternatives for your personal life and you know just so many other aspects of life. Okay. So having said that, I'm going to do one more example. The example I'm going to do is to buy a house. And the reason really, one of the reasons for that is because I think I know those numbers fairly well. Because of course I have bought a house. And so I think the final numbers will come up, final numbers, results we get are actually going to be fairly accurate. So I want to look at buying a house as an investment strategy and compare that to stock market. Okay? Everybody understand what I'm trying to do? So the question I'm asking myself is, if I have some money, should I invest in buying a house or should I invest in stock market? Okay? All right, so of course, so let's just say that I have right now let's just say I have 100K in the bank, okay? And I'm trying to look at a few different options. One is I'm going to just invest 100K in stock market. As I told you, stock market, you can assume that you'll get 5% effective interest per year, okay? So 500 high effective. And you can, if you want, you can compound monthly and you get the corresponding rate. It really doesn't matter. The other option I'm going to use is to say, I'm going to buy a house. Now actually with 100K, I can buy a house more than worth 100K, right? Because I can borrow money by mortgaging the house. So I'm going to say, well, I'm going to buy actually, let's say a $500,000 house. Because it's fairly standard that when you borrow money from an insurance company to buy a house, they will tell you at least put 20% down. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to invest this 100K, and in addition, I'm going to borrow $400,000 from the bank. Okay? So 400K loan. And this 400K loan is going to be paid back over 30 years fixed. Okay? So it's going to be paid over 30 years at, let's say, 2%. Let's just say 3%.
Is that an effective?
3% what?
Let's just 3% I factor. Okay? All right? Sorry? Actually, it's not very good rate. The mortgage rates have actually been lower than 3%, or about that. So mortgage rates have been very good for a very long time. Well, rates are low for everything except credit cards right now, which is the most amazing thing. Once you realize how low every rate is, you start wondering why are credit card companies charging such high rates.
Wait, why do you have two I's, I effectives?
I can give you I nominal if you want. I mean, I can give you whatever I want.
Oh.
I can give you I effective or I can give you I nominal. All right. So now the question is, with this information, should you buy a house or should you invest? And of course, there are a few other things we have to assume. Okay. The first thing you have to assume is you're buying a house as an investment, but you're also going to rent it. Okay. So you can also assume that you'll get rental income for this. A $500,000 house in Gainesville would probably rent for about 2,500 at least. Okay, so let's just say the rent, a rental income, is 2,500 per month.
So we're renting out the house instead of living in it?
Yeah, I am already used to living in my car, so I don't need a house.
And we're planning on selling the house at the end of the 30 years?
Yeah, and we'll remove the renters and we'll sell the house.
And the house will not appreciate or depreciate?
We will take that into account also. So the other question is the value of the house going to increase over time? Sorry? Depends on the condition. Very difficult to know. If I knew that, I would become a very rich man. Yeah.
So are we going to take into account, like, are we going to have people renting at 100% of the time, 80% of the time?
Very good question. So we can factor that all in. So let's just start putting things one by one. And you will see. Don't really need escrow for this. What do you need escrow? Well, for the taxes. Yeah, I'll talk about taxes, yeah. So this is the rental income, right? Tax. So you need to pay a real estate tax on the house that you buy. Okay? The real estate tax that you will pay on a house that is $500,000 in Gainesville will be close to $10,000. Okay? So real estate tax is $10,000 per year. And we will assume that you paid in December. Okay? So that way we'll know exactly, because it's important to know where everything is paid. Okay, December of each year. All right. Now, we also have to pay what is called, now we can make this problem as complex as we want. Yeah.
What factor in tax for the property tax? What's the factor in capital gains tax?
This is not a capital gains tax right now because we're not selling it, but there's an income tax. The capital gains tax factors in when you sell the house, but actually in Florida, if you keep the house sufficiently long, you don't have to actually pay that.
The stock market stuff.
Oh, the stock market, yeah, we'll talk about stock market separately if you want. But right now, let's just calculate the house. Now, of course, we want to make the problem in a way that we can somewhat sell it. So let's just discuss all the issues, but we will not put everything in. So there's also typically an income tax on the income that you get from the tax, right? But you can subtract the tax that you pay on the house from that. So you can claim this tax as a deduction. But so we are not going to assume, we are not going to include the income tax on this rent. So I also don't want to include, but there are a few things that you should include, and one is the monthly expenses for maintaining the house. Okay, maintenance. Let's just say yearly maintenance. And let's just say it's $1,500 per year, which is actually a reasonable number. Okay. In addition to that, again, if you really want to do this, you also have to get an insurance on the house, and that insurance will cost probably. The insurance will probably cost you $3,000 per year. Okay. All right, I think we have taken everything into account. Now we are going to assume that the house appreciates at about 3%. Okay, the value of the house increases at 3%, because without that, it will likely not be a very good investment. And actually, that's a fair number. The value of the houses typically do go up at least 3%. Okay, so appreciation. 3%.
Effective?
Yeah. Yeah, 3% annuals, 3% I effective. Okay? All right, and we will not take into account capital gains tax. We will not take into account for the house. We are not going to take into account for the stock market. Okay? Let's just keep it a little bit simple.
That insurance per year, not month.
That's per year. That's per year. Okay, and we're going to assume that all the yearly payments are made at the end of the year. All right, so now let's make a cash flow diagram for our house. Okay, so at point 0, you are giving 100,000, 100K, right? Okay, Now, in the first month, let's say what you have to give. You have to first pay off the loan. So we have to pay the annuity for the loan, right? Let's just calculate the annuity. Now here, the annuity is going to be paid in 30 years. So we can use a standard formula for annuity. So what will be 400, 100K we already paid, so the remaining principal is 300. So what formula will you use? Yeah.
No, it's the remaining.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, the remaining is 400 because the house was 500. Yeah, okay, good, sorry. So remaining is 400. So remember P is annuity 1 plus I to the power n minus 1 divided by I. Right? Yeah.
Would you not include the 400K as like getting that on the cash flow diagram, or was that
Yeah.
just for?
We don't have to do that because we are not giving that 400K, right? That 400K basically the bank gave us and we gave it away. So really it doesn't really factor in anywhere. We just like we didn't get it. But we have to pay for it. So these are payments we are making.
Oh.
So if you want, yeah, you can put 400K here.
Yeah, no, I just wasn't sure why.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could put it there. You could put 400K.
Would it be fine though, because you're getting a house that's worth $500,000 at this?
Yeah, so this is 500K, or you could put a net of 400. So yeah, you can say this is the money we got, this is the money we gave, right? But this money we also gave away right away. So in some sense, but that's okay. As long as we know what we're doing, it's okay. All right. Now we have to be a little bit careful here. We cannot directly use I effective here because of this I at the bottom.
Question.
Yeah.
Should that be F instead of B?
No, and then you have to put I1 plus I2 power n. Okay. Now to do this, I recommend that you do calculate I, because money is compounded monthly. So this I, now when you see 1 plus I to the power n, for these terms, yes, you can take the effective rate and use n to be the number of years. But this I has to be the correct I. Right? So you can use this formula, but here's an example where you actually do need to know the actual I per period. You can't just replace it by effective. So I, remember, if 1 plus I effective is 1 plus I nominal over m to the power m, or you can say 1 plus I to power I is the per period m. So m is 12, so from here you have to calculate, and I give you the I effective, so you actually have to calculate I. Can somebody please calculate that?
4.3%.
So yeah, so I effective is 3%. So we want to calculate I.
0.247%.
Okay, 0.247. So I is going to be 0.247%, which means divided by 100. Okay? All right, so can you please calculate A for this? So I is that, n, we are taking n to be 30 years, means n is 360. So please calculate the annuity. Yeah?
Dividing by 100?
To calculate percentage to decimal. I thought
It's
this
already
was
in decimal.
Huh?
It's already in decimal.
No, it's not.
0.2.
It's 3% is I effective, so I is 0.247%. It should be close to, I think, $3,000. Anybody? Come on, we need some fast hands. At this rate, we can't finish the problem till tomorrow. Come on, give me an answer. 3,000? That's a guess.